Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, we get ready for the once beloved rivalry between the Sharks and Red Wings that is now no longer because of their move to the Eastern Conference. So we'll look at the Red Wings, look at how the Sharks match up, and see if the Sharks can make it 4 straight wins. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin and San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch this bad boy on YouTube as well. And we got the Sharks got a pretty winnable game here, to be honest. I mean, coming off the 3-game win streak, right? You beat Dallas, who's probably going to be in the playoffs. Minnesota, who's kind of figuring things out, but that was a come-from-behind win. And Vegas, who's been one of the best teams to start the season so far. And you beat Vegas in a pretty convincing fashion. Then you come home, you get to play Detroit. And again, this is, if the Sharks want to do something with their season, this is one of those games where you need to kind of prove that what we've seen the last week or so isn't a fluke. And if you can kind of come out and, put the beat down on a team that is kind of struggling to find their way. And I know the Sharks, if you look at the Sharks numbers and their record and everything that you were going to see here in a little bit, these teams match up pretty evenly right now. But this is a chance for the Sharks to kind of help kind of put a claim to what type of team that they kind of expect themselves to be right now, as they are, trying to dig themselves out of the hole from that they created in the first kind of 8 games of the season. And, we're about ready to hit the, 20 game mark, which is the quarter of the season so far. So we'll next week dive into kind of where this team sits and how you can kind of look at the first 10 games, or I guess kind of the first 8 games compared to the last, 10 plus games now with the Sharks, and see how this team has really started to get things together over those last few games. So, but let's start with, projected lines. I expect pretty much kind of the same thing for the Sharks. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And they've won 3 games with this lineup right now. So I would expect probably the same lineup. So just as a quick reminder, that lineup, I'm pulling it up right now. As of last game, it was Meier, Hertl, LeBanc, one of the best lines in the NHL right now at creating shot attempts. I think they're 7th best among forward lines who played at least 40 minutes together. Nieto, Couture, Barabanov line has definitely been coming together. Benito, Sturm, Kanin, Oscar Lindblom, Steven Lorentz, Evgeny Svechnikov. And then Magna, Carlson continue to play together. And then last game, I think it was Vlasic, Benning, and then Ferraro, Cicek. We'll see kind of how those bottom 4, but they'll be playing together in some pairing, right? And then we'll see if Reimer gets another go, or if they want to kind of bring Kaapo Kahkonen back. Reimer has started the last 3 games. So we'll see if it's time for Kaapo Kahkonen to get back in, especially with the amount of games the Sharks have played here. And then you're also playing the Rangers on Saturday. So I think we see Kaapo Kahkonen versus, let me see. I don't think the Sharks in their practice today, so there wasn't any line news or anything like that. But I would expect to see Kaapo Kahkonen here at some point, because you can't just let James Reimer play, 13 games in a row. We saw what happened last year. So You have the Red Wings, and then you play the Rangers on Saturday. I think this is a good time to try to get Kaapo Kahkonen against a much more even team, especially compared to what we've seen, and see if you can kind of, rebuild some of that confidence, especially with the way the team is playing right now. So that would be my prediction, that we get Kaapo Kahkonen to start. For the Red Wings, how they lined up. First line, Tyler Bertuzzi, Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond is amazing. He's going to be a star in this league. So if you haven't watched Lucas Raymond play yet, he's very, very good. Adam Ernie, Andrew Cup, that guy's a Cup, Dominic Kublak, Oscar Sundquist, Michael Rasmussen, David Perron, Oscar Sundquist. I think it was like NHL 20 or something like that. I did an expansion team, and he was on my team, and he ended up winning the Conn Smythe on my expansion team. So he has a soft spot for my team. Anyway. Then you have Jonathan Bergman, who's a rookie. I think he made his NHL debut the other day. Joe Valeno and Pius Sutter. If Jonathan Bergeron, if he hasn't scored yet, you can count him to score against the Sharks, because you know that what happens there. On defense, Ben Sherratt, former Habs legend. Moritz Seider won the Norris last year, won the Calder. Not Norris, won the Calder. Dude's amazing. Just an he's going to be very good. Oli Mata, Philip Hornick, Jake Wallman is coming back from injury and expected to make his season debut, and Jordan Osterley. In goal, Ville Husso and Alex Nedeljkovic. I always screw up his name. Anyway, Ned, former Carolina Hurricane. Husso played last, so they played on Tuesday. They lost to the Ducks. Husso played then, so I assume we'll see Ned. Red Wings dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Robbie Fabry on IR. Jake Wallman's coming back. Jacob Vrana on IR. Philip Zadina on IR. Matt Luff on IR. Mark Syke is out. Gustav Lindstrom day-to-day. Elmer Soderblom also day-to-day. So dealing with a lot of injuries right there for the Red Wings. So that's how they lined up last time. So we'll see how they line up coming into tonight's game against the Sharks. So before we kind of dig into these teams and look at, how they match up, how their kind of rankings are so far this year, and kind of learn more about them, let's take a quick break. Talk to you guys about our friends over at BetOnline. This episode is brought to you guys by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all on betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so I kind of like doing the slideshow thing from last time. So if you guys like it, let me know. Especially if you're watching on YouTube. So we have Red Wings versus Sharks. This is all from Jay Fresh, Top Down Hockey. Dave's from Top Down Hockey. But looking at the rankings, and much different than what we saw when the Sharks played Vegas the other day. I really want to see kind of the rolling numbers here at some point soon, and kind of where the Sharks is trending compared to, I think push comes to shove, at some point we're just going to have to throw out the first 8 games of the season and just be like, that's not who this team actually is, especially with new coach, new coaching staff, not very, very short preseason, going to Europe, a lot of stuff going on, right? So 5-on-5 goals for Sharks are 21st compared to the Red Wings at 27th. 5-on-5 expected goals. Sharks are 22nd compared to the Red Wings, 30th in the league. Corsi 4, 5-on-5. Sharks are 23rd compared to, again, the Red Wings at 30th. Power play, Sharks at 17th, Red Wings at 20th. And then finishing, Red Wings at 21st in the league and Sharks at 24th. So, kind of digging into a little bit more offensive shooting comparison. Not this, neither one of these teams is lighting things up right now, but again, with the Sharks, that you're starting to see this offense kind of starting to click. And I don't think this is going to be a 4 goals a night type of team from the Sharks, but you're seeing improvement from them. And the Red Wings are just not very good right now at generating sustained offense. Their expected goals for is 2.1 a game, while the Sharks' expected goals for is 2.5. So they're doing, Sharks a little bit more offense. Actual goals for 2.4. So again, Sharks are kind of starting to climb up that rankings where they were dead last early in the season, and starting to see those offensive rankings come together. The power play, I think, again, the Sharks power play at the beginning of the season was abysmal, but it's starting to come together right here. So, this is a game where the Sharks, they have an edge in a lot of different things here. So, looking at the goaltending and defense, again, so goals for Sharks are 22nd, Sharks are 29th, Red Wings are 22nd. So defense a little bit better in the Red Wings department. Expected goals allowed 2.6. So Red Wings are doing a pretty good job of not giving up goals, while the Sharks their expected goals at 2.7. So they're kind of leaking goals here, and I think we can kind of point to, I guess, Kaapo Kahkonen, who is struggling a little bit this season. So, and then with the PK, the Sharks clear advantage here, second in the NHL at the PK, while the Red Wings PK is at 16th at 78%. And again, with the play driving, it's not like it's Sharks have a slight advantage with their Corsi for their shot attempts and stuff over the Red Wings. It's not like it's a huge advantage, but it is a slight advantage for the Sharks here. So this is a game where, again, the Sharks, you're back home. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a big test, but this can really kind of prove of where the Sharks are at, right? You won 3 games on the road, a big emotional win over Vegas, your big rival over Vegas. You come back home, and this is a team you are supposed to beat. Looking at the numbers, you are supposed to beat this team, right? I know the records are pretty similar and stuff, but just the way the Sharks are playing right now, I think that this is a team that you are supposed to try to beat. And we see with the Sharks, their 5-on-5 offensive numbers are starting to improve a little bit. And if you can continue that, especially against a team like Detroit, who has won super beat up, right? I went through the entire, all their injury list right there, super beat up, and they're not playing, a very consistent offense. Again, like their Corsi for, right? They're 30th in the league at 43% Corsi for, while the Sharks, again, it's not like it's a huge improvement, but it's 48%. Just kind of they're working their way out of the funk right now. Sharks actually Corsi for is better than the Oilers at 5-5 so far this season. So, and then look at the goals. Both these teams struggle to score, but I think, again, we've seen the Sharks, that Timo Meier Hertl line, I think, is better than the first line of the Red Wings. You're starting to get some more push from some of the other guys. Nico Sturm's been contributing. You got Lorenz scoring. You got Kenin scoring. If Oscar Lindblom can score, like if you can get some more of these guys, if Logan Couture, the Couture Barabanov line is clicking, I think this is a game where the Sharks honestly should win. And I think their 5-on-5 is going to be a little bit better. I think they have an advantage in the power play on the special teams. So, yeah, that's going to be the key for the Sharks, is to continue the momentum on what you've done so far this season. And looking at the way that Detroit likes to play, their high danger chances, they're pretty, they're second to last in high danger chances for. So they're going to give up a majority of the high danger chances. If you look at the raw numbers, they are third from the last in actual high danger chances for, while giving up they're kind of middle of the pack and when it comes to actual giving up high danger chances, but they just don't generate a lot of high danger chances. The Sharks, though, actually do generate a lot of high danger chances. So here's this game is going. I bet you're going to see a bunch of Timo Meier, Tomas Hertl, Luke Cunnin, Logan Couture living in the crease there and making life really tough for the Detroit goalies. And that's just the way the Sharks want to play, right? They want to get to the net, try to score those ugly goals, get those, great A high danger chances. And for the Red Wings, they're like, please do so, very much so. That's what they do. They give those up. So this game kind of has all the makings for a Sharks win here. So before we finish up and get into what I'm looking for tonight, and of course a prediction, I think you guys kind of know where I'm leaning already going into this game. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is, if you guys haven't checked out the Locked On Sports Today, go check them out. Thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Now for your second listen, go check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. All right, so this game, I think the big thing for the Sharks is you have to carry the momentum, right? You don't want to kind of come into this game kind of resting on your laurels of what you've done the past couple games. And, especially getting off to slow starts. And the Minnesota game, slow start. Vegas game, the first period, slow start. First game at home, Red Wings are on a road trip right now. Try to kind of get the energy going a little bit earlier. You don't want to have Kaapo Kahkonen and James Reimer trying to kind of bail you out the first period, and then you kind of come back and win. And I know Detroit's offense isn't, a juggernaut or anything like that, but it'd be good to see you start to, play that full 60 minutes where if you can play like you did against Vegas in the last 40 minutes, can you do that for a full 60 minutes against a team that you're supposed to beat? So how does this team start? I want to, get out to a fast start. It's such a cliche thing, but don't put yourself in a hole that you've kind of done the last couple games, right? Against Minnesota, you were down 2-0. Against Vegas, you had to come back and win that game. You were down 2-1 entering the third period. You gave up a goal in the last minute of the first period, and a period that you probably should have been losing by more just because of the way Vegas was playing. But come out, establish a tone, continue to build off of what you've done the previous game. So, number 2, can the big guys keep it going, right? Timo Meier, 13 points in his last 9 games, right? Hertl, it's basically been, I think he's at 6 or 7 points in his last 6 games. Like he's been doing stuff. Erik Karlsson, franchise record of points to start a season right now, right? Can these guys continue to be the engine for this team right now? And I don't see why they shouldn't, especially against this team. Love to see Hertl get on the scoreboard tonight. I know he's been playing well, looked a little frustrated in the Vegas game, but this feels like a Hertl 2 greasy goals in front of the net type of situation where I'm just better than the guys in front of me right now, and there's nothing you can do about it. So let those guys continue to cook, let those guys be the engine of your team, and then if you can get some extra support as well. So, and then the last thing is if Kaapo Kahkonen, I'm assuming Kaapo Kahkonen starts. So can we get some confidence back in Kaapo Kahkonen, right? Make especially if you can get like a big save early on and kind of really kind of get that energy, get the juice flowing for Kaapo Kahkonen, and not so, so we don't have to play James Reimer, 5 games in a row, 6 games in a row, whatever. But again, Kaapo Kahkonen, like you need to see what you have in him at some point. And right now the trade's not looking that great. again, Jake Middleton's perfectly fine, but I understand taking swings on goalies whenever you get a chance, but especially if you don't have a goalie or have a long-term goalie. But this is a great opportunity for Kaapo Kahkonen to kind of rebound and have a great game, especially against a Detroit team. Like I said, they're averaging like 2.5 goals or less than that, per game right now. So, goals for game. So yeah, they're like 2.8 goals per game. Like this is a great opportunity for you to get back into this game and really try to find your momentum or find your footing, at least for what's been a very rocky start for Kaapo Kahkonen. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a Sharks win. I think they're playing very well right now, coming off 3 big wins. They have some momentum going. They're playing well. The power play is looking really good. They got a power play goal last game. Detroit's penalty kill, it's kind of middle of the pack. 5-on-5 numbers, both their numbers are about even, but I think the way the Sharks are playing recently, their 5-on-5 numbers look better than what they do for the season average. So I have a 4-1 Sharks win. Like I said, I think I'm gonna go with Hertl gets 2 goals, Timo gets 3 points, and then Kaapo Kahkonen looks really solid as well. So that's my prediction for this game. So yes, make sure we'll be back tonight, tomorrow night, whatever. We'll be back tonight to recap the game, kind of break down what happens. Maybe look ahead to the Rangers game. Maybe talk a little bit of Barracuda because the Barracuda game is going on right now. So gonna go finish watching that. But that's going to be it for me. Make sure you guys are following along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram over at Locked On Sharks. All those places. You can also listen Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, Amazon Music, wherever you get podcasts, you can listen as well. Find me on Twitter at MyFryHole. And then again, be back tomorrow with a recap of the Red Wings game and then get you guys ready for the Rangers as well. And of course, it's Friday, so 3 Fridays of the week. And until then, bye, friends.